Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here and welcome to BBallBreakdown. Going through this Game 4 between the Heat and the Pacers, there's a lot of concerning things if you're an Indiana fan. The bottom line is they're not making a lot of passes on offense because they're so afraid of turnovers. However, they don't get good shots because there is no ball movement. So now you got a bad mix between really bad offense with turnovers anyway and not easy shots that they can make. Plus, they're allowing through 4 games the Heat to shoot 51% from the field and 38% from 3. This from a supposed elite defensive ball club. This is a very bad mix, and this series is basically over. Let's jump right into the first play of the third quarter. While Coach Vogel called the play that has George Hill initiate, watch what happens when the Heat deny him the ball in the backcourt. David West runs by, it doesn't screen for him, so now Lance Stevenson has to bring the ball up, and they waste even more time just making the simple pass to Hill. The play is a zipper cut for Paul George into a screen and roll with Hibbert. We've shown this before, but look how awful this ball screen set by Hibbert is. The Pacers want to go high-low from West to Hibbert, but West doesn't get good position and Paul George throws an awful pass. The Heat don't run a play when they come down the court, they just swing it around to their best mismatch, Hibbert on Chris Bosh, who blows by him. I commend Paul George for rotating over to help, and when Hibbert finds himself on LeBron, George does the smart thing by doubling him. The Pacers try to rotate and do a decent job, but Paul George must first see that George Hill is already rotating out on top, and once he stops, he must get back to LeBron on a full sprint. This doesn't happen, and LeBron knocks down the 3. Reeling a bit, the Pacers run their basic motion with a post-up for Hibbert on the right block, and he makes a great move along the baseline up until the point he airballs a 2-footer. The Heat come down and run a Chalmers ball screen for LeBron, and this time the Pacers jump the ball and LeBron gets the ball to Mario. The Heat are better at this type of defense as they'd already have someone on the block at this point. When Hibbert does come over to defend the rim, he gives up a beat too early and George Hill takes a bad angle to get back, allowing an easy layup by Chalmers. The Pacers, in desperate need of a basket, call the elevator play to get Paul George a 3. Why they don't go to West in the post, I have no idea, but the elevator doors try to close. However, it's LeBron guarding Paul George and he shoots through before the screens can work. I like how Hibbert rolls to the dotted line, but Rashard Lewis comes off his mat to make a simply great play to knock the pass away and get the steal. Then he throws a perfect outlet to LeBron, who gets ahead of the pack because George hesitated while he was busy getting frustrated. I actually liked how Coach Vogel didn't call a timeout here to let his team battle through the tough times. And I think a Hill-West pick and roll is a good idea, but Hill dribbles 3 extra times before giving it to West, who throws up a tough running left-hander under duress. Do you want to know why Hibbert is a terrible rebounder? Here's a great example. After pushing people out of the way and getting away with it, he doesn't go after the ball at all, allowing a player 10 inches shorter than him to knock it away. The Heat run horns, and this isn't even supposed to be a ball screen. It looks like LeBron wants to cross screen for Bosh, but Hill completely opens up his stance, and Paul George doesn't see this happening until it's way too late, allowing a straight line drive to the hole. Massive rotations get Bosh and James by themselves on the perimeter, and why Paul George decided to run around the outside of Bosh, who wasn't even trying to screen, is beyond me. This allows a drive by LeBron and a foul on Hibbert. Down by 10, the Pacers don't appear to call a play. This looks like freelancing to me as West backscreens while Mahimi wanders the baseline. West flashes to the ball, but Rashard Lewis again plays good positional defense and forces the miss. Of course, when LeBron gets the rebound, you are almost always in trouble, and there's not much they can do with Wade filling the left lane for the layup. The only thing that delayed the inevitable was a bad foul on the three-point shooter by Wade, with just enough contact to warrant the whistle. But here's where it got inexcusable in my book. After Paul George makes his 3rd free throw, the Heat take their time inbounding, and yet still get a long down-court pass to Bosh, who gets right to the hoop and they have to foul. The rest of the game was just formality. So there you have it, sports fans. If you were to compare the kind of quality of shots the Pacers got compared to the Heat, even in the first half, you would have seen it was a landslide in the Heat's favor, and that's why everyone felt like it was just a matter of time before they went on a run to blow it out, which is basically what this was. And the series is over. They're not going to come back from a 3-1 deficit in my mind. And that now leads to a discussion of what's going to happen in the offseason, because they have a lot of decisions to make. Do they retain Coach Vogel? Do they keep Lance Stevenson or pay him more than he's worth? It's a lot of interesting questions. Do they move anybody else? Do they try and upgrade the point guard position? Because I have some serious doubts now that George Hill is a bona fide starting point guard on a conference finals team. I don't think he's quite cutting it as they needed to, and I don't know if he's had enough improvement over these years to merit giving him that starting role. So there's a lot of change going on, and kudos to the Heat. They protected Dwayne Wade's body up until this point. He's playing very well, moving very well, and Bosh had a big breakout game like we knew he would eventually have. And this is what makes them so impossible to beat. And I gotta tell you, if they continue playing like this, then whoever they meet in the finals is gonna have a pretty big mountain to climb. Well, thanks for joining us. Lots more coming up on B-Ball Breakdown. And don't forget, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?